Hey, hey, I think we're here. I think so. Let me make sure that we're all good. Okay. Fabulous, fabulous. So I'm going to give it another minute here just to be sure that I start when people are arriving. I don't want to get in the middle of anything. But anyway, happy to have you here. I am going to treat this like a coaching call. Right now, it doesn't matter how many people join us, you are my client. You are my concern. I am going to give you everything you need. So, in this session and every single day, I'm going to treat it just like this every single day because well, first of all, I want it to be like that. I want you to have that experience of what it's like to get coached and to feel seen and heard and to get a sense of your capacity, your capability, your value. And the reason why I know this is going to work even in this setting is because we have something called quantum physics happening in our to our advantage. And the concept that I'm thinking about specifically is quantum entanglement. And what basically that means is that we are connected. We are connected at that quantum level. So no matter where you are, where you're tuning in, what's going on, whatever the distance is between us, quantum entanglement connects us. And so that means there really like isn't any distance. I just love that concept. And this is totally off topic, but I'm going to do a article for Middle Ground, my LinkedIn newsletter about quantum entanglement and remote work. Because you know what? I don't think there's really any such thing as remote when we think of quantum entanglement. So you're connected to me, I'm connected to you. It's just you and me. We're going to go through this and I'm going to just pack this full of information for you. But what I mainly want to make sure is that every single day of this 4 day challenge, you walk away feeling empowered, feeling that much closer to the possibilities that exist for you. So let's see. Let me share my screen here real quick. And I'm going to put on my glasses so that I can actually see my slides. Where are we here? Okay, slide show. So we are calling this a career reset challenge, but the image is what I really want you to focus on. The image is there is an open door for you. There is a path forward to that open door, to the possibilities. It's really easy to feel stuck when you're in a job that doesn't fit anymore. And I find this especially true with people, my clients, who have been doing a certain job for a certain amount of time. Maybe that's what you went to school for. Maybe you just fell into it. But for whatever reason, it it's okay at first, and then by 18 months in, by 2 years in, by 3 years in, you're starting to get a little restless. But you keep going because you think, yeah, but this is what I know how to do. I do this really well. But the longer you're in it, the worse it feels. And pretty soon you it becomes intolerable and unsustainable. So this is the result that I want you to get from this challenge, and that is I want you to see an open door. I want you to see possibilities because they do exist. So, who is this challenge for? Well, this is for anyone who wants to feel good at work again. And I don't know if you're early career, mid career, late career. I'm not sure what's going on with you. But what I can tell you is that if you're here, you are not feeling good at work anymore. And I'm going to help you figure out why you're not feeling good. And by the end of the week, you are going to have a plan and you're going to know exactly what to do so that you can feel good again. And so that you can pivot or reset to something that is aligned with you. This is for someone who your career or occupation no longer feels like a good fit. You has you feeling overwhelmed and burned out, but you're not sure where to go from here. It's like a brick wall right in front of you. But this is what we're going to do today, my friend. We are going to break through the brick wall. We are going to see some sunlight on the other side of that wall and create a breakthrough for you today. Even if this is the only day that you attend, you're going to walk away with a sense of empowerment from what we talk about today. So, today's going to be create your breakthrough. Just outline a little bit what's happening this week. Today's create your breakthrough. Next, which is tomorrow, we're going to map out your destination. So once you break through that wall, you got to figure out where to go. And that's exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. Then, third day, it's going to be really practical. All the practical tactics that you need, like how to write a resume for your career reset, pivot, whatever that looks like for you, how to set up your LinkedIn profile, all the good stuff that's going to help you kind of set the stage for where you go. And then on the last day, we're going to talk about your career reset superpower. Because here's the deal. You could have all three of these other things in pretty good shape. But if you're not tapping into your superpower, then you are staying stuck longer. And we don't want you doing that. We don't want you stuck any longer. Your job search will just take longer. You will not get the consistent results that you're after if you're not tapping into the reset superpower. And so all of this is leading up. You're going to have everything you need, and then we're going to talk about superpower, and you're going to be on your way. So when I talk about create your breakthrough, these are the three things that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about your strengths because your strengths are your clues. And when I say strengths, I don't mean your skills, your experience, your career thus far. When I talk about strengths, I'm talking about your natural behavioral strengths that underpin your success and happiness at work. And I'd probably even lean a little bit more into happiness because the deal is that even if you're in an area that isn't in a strength zone, and we'll get into that a little bit more, you could kind of force yourself into success. You can kind of grit and willpower and determination your way into success, but it's not going to feel great. It's going to feel labored. It's going to feel like striving. And your strengths are these clues that are going to help you figure out what's next. And the second part of Create Your Breakthrough is the story in your stress. Now, your stress is telling you something. There is a story in there that is going to be the aha moment for you. It's going to be the, oh my gosh, yes, this is exactly what's happening. And when you figure out the clues that are evident in your strengths and the story in your stress, now you can align to your design. And that'll be the third component of what we're going to talk about today. So let's just jump right in. Okay. Now, this is a this is a lot of words on a document. And this is a snapshot of the personal dynamics report. This is a 5 or 10 minute survey that I have all my clients participate in. And what it produces is a picture of your strengths. These are all behaviors. If you look at some of these words, procedural, dutiful, informal, responsive, decisive, accommodating, observant, impatient, individualistic, non detailed, free spirited. These are all behaviors, and every single one of these is a strength. This report, there is nothing about weaknesses in here. There is nothing about you that you have to fix in order to figure out what's next for you, in order to get out of a job that feels horrible and into a new role, a new direction that feels amazing. And the clues are right here in your strengths. So if we take a look at it, your strength zone, kind of highlighted in green here, could be that you're modest. It could be that you're tolerant. It could be that you're accepting. Those are all strengths. There's nothing wrong with that. But you need to know that about yourself. Now let's look at another one. Maybe another strength you have is that you're fun loving and enthusiastic and persuasive. What a cool combination. Now, anybody could be anywhere in this spectrum. I just kind of picked out some examples of what that might look like. And then we have strengths of being adaptable and liking change and versatile. Great strengths. Not bad or worse, not right or wrong, compared to someone who is up here who's kind of methodical and informal and casual. Maybe you're less detailed. Maybe you like big picture thinking. You could be someone up here who is very detailed and very accurate, who loves rules and structure and order. It's so important to identify your behavioral strengths, where they are in the spectrum, because that is the clue. And that is telling you the areas, the behavioral areas, what makes you tick as a person. And when you align yourself to what makes you tick as a person in your work life, that's where the enjoyment comes from. That's where the engagement comes from. That's where you are doing a job that feels so comfortable that you lose time, that you get into a flow state. This is so important to understand. Now, when I send the replay of this today's session, I'll also include a document that you can go through and kind of for yourself circle the things that resonate with you. Circle the things that not what your work requires of you, but what you feel is natural to you. This is very important. I don't want you picking the things that, well, my work requires me to be very detailed, but gosh, I'm really kind of big picture. Like, don't gravitate to what your work is requiring or what you find yourself doing at work, the way you find yourself behaving at work. Think of it as what feels most natural to you. If you didn't have to do anything but be aligned with your strengths. That's the key. And the survey that I give my clients, it kind of walks them through, a questionnaire that helps figure all of that out. But you can figure it out for yourself. You can look at these words and say, ooh, I'm gravitating towards that. Maybe do it at a time when you're just not getting off of a bad day, but on the weekend or something. Come back to this and find those words that align with you. Those are your clues. And what's really cool about this is notice that these strengths are not pigeonholing you into a specific role or job function. There's lots of roles that need someone who is enthusiastic and persuasive and verbal in order to be successful in that role. There's lots of roles out there that require a more general approach, big picture thinking, less detail. That's also how I want you to think of it. We're not there yet. We're not finding the right role for you quite yet. We're breaking through. We're creating a breakthrough that helps you see possibilities. And your strengths are the clue to what those possibilities might be. So, what do I mean by the story in your stress? Well, another really cool aspect of the report that, or the survey slash report that all my clients participate in is there's a stress analysis. Now, I am kind of a personal professional development junkie. I've been participating in these kind of surveys and personality tests and behavioral strength surveys for a long, long time. And the reason why this one is my favorite, and the reason why this one was the one I chose to be certified in administering and coaching and consulting with, had a lot to do with this stress section, because this is the picture that we're looking at here. Notice the strength zones, right? Those are in green, and the blue dots are kind of in the center of that strength zone. What if your job as whatever your role might be, if your strength zone is, I like to be more agreeable and modest in my approach, what if your job is requiring you to be confident, to be innovative, to be kind of out there, taking charge in a more visible way versus this moderate, supportive kind of a way? Well, that is going to be very uncomfortable. What if instead of just being persuasive, you've got to be really out there, kind of rah people, motivating people? That's probably not going to feel very comfortable either, because being verbal and persuasive is a different kind of behavior than being this motivating, exciting kind of person out there behaving that way. If you're someone who really likes change, and you enjoy variety, then getting into a job that's kind of a casual, methodical, same thing, predictable every day is not just going to be boring, but eventually it's going to wear you down. If you're a big picture person and kind of a generalist, but now you're being either pushed down into having to be overly creative or adventurous or challenging, someone's kind of pushing you to challenge the rules, it's not going to be comfortable. Think about, if you're in this zone, what it would be like to be in this really strict, ordered, structured, process driven role. I think you can see where I'm going here. So, your second pass at this list of behaviors is to determine where you are in terms of what your role is requiring of you, what you're having to do on a day to day basis that is outside of your strength zone. Now, let's be real. We're all going to have to adapt. We're all going to have to sometimes step out of our comfort zone, step out of our strength zone in order to get something done. I get that. But the thing that you want to clarify for yourself is, are you out of your strength zone on a regular basis, on a daily basis? Are you down here in this private, um, being asked to be composed and, hold yourself in? That's not going to feel very comfortable. And here's what happens. This is another whole part of the survey results is a satisfaction analysis. Yeah. If you're out of your strength zones and you have been for quite a while, guess what, my friends? You're not happy. You are not satisfied at work. There will be concern on whether or not you're getting the rewards and the meaning and the fulfillment out of your job. And the other thing that is especially scary and concerning is energy drain. And that's what's represented here on the far right under the K. The K represents kinetic energy. This report also identifies your normal kinetic energy when you're operating your strength zones, and then the drain to your kinetic energy when you're not. So instead of being this sort of high energy, loving work, being able to manage a lot, if you find yourself running out of energy way earlier in the day than is normal, and if you find yourself not having a channel to move your energy, then there's a good chance that this has been going on a long time. It's having its consequences on you physically and mentally. Kinetic energy is part physical, part mental, part emotional. So when you feel that energy drain, it can be all in your head. You can't think anymore. You're running out of steam physically and emotionally. You're exhausted. Your well-being is taking a hit. You may not have connected those dots before, that the reason you are feeling low satisfaction and drained in those ways is because your job has you behaving in ways that are counter to your strengths, that are counter to what makes you tick as a person. It's so validating to have just this objective report. And by the way, this report's 18 pages. It's not just these two pages. These are the two visual pages, but there's all these descriptions of what's happening as well. It's so validating to know, oh my gosh, there's nothing wrong with me. It's just that my job doesn't have me in my strength zones. It's so helpful to have that and so freeing to have that information. So give yourself that gift. Look for the story in your stress. Oh, one more thing. I didn't mention this. This is another area. Um, your logic, the way you make decisions. If you are in your zone here, a very intuitive decision maker, but someone's forcing you to prove yourself with facts, with data, that's going to be really uncomfortable as well. Another area of energy drain. Likewise, if you're someone who really likes facts and figures and data, and you're being pushed to make decisions on the fly and go with your gut, equally uncomfortable and a component of energy drain. So you've got to get back to your strength zones. You've got to really allow yourself to be who you are. You want to be a what you see is what you get person. And the beauty of this, as I said, and that we'll get into in the next couple of days, is that knowing your strengths isn't limiting at all. It actually gives you options. And now you can be looking at your potential, your options through the lens of your strengths. Does this thing fit me? Does this new direction fit me? And that's definitely where we're going to go with this tomorrow. The third part of creating your breakthrough is what I call align to your design. And what do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to have you do some self coaching. Ask some questions. Find those alignments through asking great questions and then expecting an answer from yourself. So the first one is, what job functions or objectives, responsibilities pertaining to your job do you find the most enjoyable? That's where the clues are. The most enjoyable things are aligned to your strengths. So if you find that doing research and creating Excel spreadsheets and digging in and looking for the patterns in information is really enjoyable for you, what behaviors are in play as you're doing that? So you're going to kind of go back to that strengths list. You're going to say, oh, okay, the reason I like that is because I love detail. I love order. I love process. See where I'm going with this? When you find what's most enjoyable, then you can relate those to your natural behavioral strength traits. So you're kind of looking at those two things together. What do you find enjoyable? How do those relate to your traits? What traits are in play when you are enjoying what you're doing? What strengths are naturally aligned to work and responsibilities you enjoy? Now, this may sound kind of surfacey, I don't know, but figuring out what you enjoy is a valid thing to allow yourself. Most people go into work thinking, well, that's just work. That's just, I don't have to enjoy it because work is work. But there can be and there should be elements of what you do that you enjoy. If you constantly feel attracted to a certain aspect of work, say you procrastinate one area, but you always keep gravitating to the other, it's because you enjoy it, and you enjoy it because it's aligned to your strengths. Start paying close attention. Start being a curious watcher of your own leanings and behaviors and the thoughts and feelings that you're having as you engage in those activities so that you can be giving yourself a clue as okay, what is it that I'm engaging in terms of a strength that aligns to this job function. Next, self-coaching on your stress. This wear and tear, this stress, this energy drain, this low satisfaction create dissatisfaction, disengagement, and it's not sustainable in the long term. You cannot, if I went back to that page and saw that long tail of energy drain, and I didn't make that up. I didn't create that picture. That is an example of a human being who I've worked with that was that out of place at work and experiencing that much energy drain and stress and burnout at work. You can see how that's not sustainable. So paying attention to the stress, to what's happening, and then asking yourself, are these pressures self-imposed? Are you putting that kind of pressure on yourself? Maybe you've got some people pleasing things and some perfectionistic things. How do I know that? Yes, those are things I have worked through in my career. Those are self-imposed pressures. Are the pressures temporary? Good to know. If this is just picking up the pace because this project is nearing a deadline. And once you have met that deadline, you can go back to your more casual, methodical pace. Wonderful. But if your casual, methodical pace is being disrupted daily because you're surrounded by chaos and urgency, not sustainable in the long term. So the next question to ask yourself is what day-to-day job functions create the most friction and therefore wear and tear, which we know wear and tear is energy drain, stress, burnout, and just not feeling satisfied at work anymore. Write these down or go back to watch the replay, pause the video, and answer these questions for yourself. I think it's going to be good for you to re-engage with this information, to go back and spend some time with that self-awareness as and being really curious about yourself. And then lastly, when it comes to achieving alignment, what we're talking about here is having awareness about what you don't want creates clarity about what you do want. That's why, while I love positive thinking, and that'll be a topic that we come back to later, I don't think positive thinking is about ignoring what isn't working, what you don't want, because it's like two sides of the same coin, or it's like the yin yang symbol. You have the light and the dark, and they coexist. And by allowing yourself to say, "Hey, I don't want to do this anymore," you give yourself space to answer the question, what do I want to do? You actually send a message out there. By knowing what you don't want, there's a message out there that there is something else for you, that there is something that you do want. So having that kind of clarity makes all the sense in the world. Now, I'm not saying indulge in it and start hating life and feeling awful, but just be that objective, observant, curious presence, if you will, about yourself, and think about, I don't want to do this anymore. How freeing is that? Just to give yourself the space to make that statement. I don't want to do this anymore. Then you're going to create alignment. You're going to give attention and intention around your strengths so that you open up space to consider options. When we meet tomorrow, it's going to be all about setting a direction. It's going to be all about how to figure out what your options actually are. But if you're feeling stuck behind a wall or in this deep fog that you're or quicksand that you're trying to struggle to get out of, then just this space to consider there might actually be options for me is a wonderful place to be. One of the things on the book, The Map of Consciousness, and I can't think of the author off the top of my head. Have it right here. Oh, there it is. The Map of Consciousness Explained by David Hawkins. One of the best things, one of the biggest aha moments in this book was that neutral is where we get our power back. We are actually drained of mental and physical strength when we are indulging in negative emotions. Negative emotions have an energy about them that drains us. So when you're feeling anxious or angry or frustrated or burned out, and you're experiencing those emotions, it's no wonder it causes energy drain because it physically does. There are tests that show thinking a certain energy that you can't hold something up, that it actually physically weakens you. And then on the opposite side of that, we have the positive emotions like hope and joy and happiness. Those are the things that strengthen us. But here's the best thing. You don't have to have hope, joy, and everything be rainbows and butterflies to get your power back. Neutral. Neutral is where you start to see options. Neutral is where you get your power back. And that's what I want you to think about when you're thinking about achieving alignment. You're not trying to figure out where you go from here or how you get there. We'll get to that. All you're doing right now is spending some attention and intention around your strengths to open up space to that there might actually be options for you to kind of get to neutral. Clearly defined wants and alignment with them, the higher the chance it's realized. So you know what you don't want, and now you've created some space for some options, and you're starting to more clearly define what you do want. And again, I'm not saying a job title. I'm saying what behaviors do you want to be exercising? Do you want to be amplifying on a daily basis? I want to have freedom. I want to be able to dive into details. I want to um, be in front of a group and share my knowledge. I want to just sit quietly in a meeting and observe everybody and take it all in. You see how I've just kind of leveraged those different behaviors? That's the want that I want you to be thinking about from today's session. Not the how, not the what, but the want. When you know what you want, you're activating some things in your brain that we will talk deeper about tomorrow. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do. I love this quote from Bruce Lee because that's what this is about. I've given you a lot of information. I've thrown some ideas at you, and we can keep consuming knowledge. We can have some willingness to do it, but we must do. We must engage. You must be willing to commit to yourself that you're going to take this deeper, that you're going to ask yourself these great questions, that you're going to take yourself seriously. That's kind of what this is. You're worth it. You're worth taking yourself seriously to figure out what you want, to acknowledge your strengths and whether or not you're being given the opportunity to operate in those strengths. So, I'm going to leave you with this. Can you commit to identifying your natural behavioral workplace strengths? Forget about what you know how to do. This is about how you show up. What feels natural to you? How do you want to show up? What behaviors do you want to be in play on a daily basis? And then how would activating and applying your strengths on a daily basis affect your career happiness? If you could look at that list of behaviors and say, I'm doing this every day, I'm behaving this way every day, how would that change things for you? How would that change what's going on during the workday, before the workday, after the workday, Sunday nights, Sunday scaries? My friend, it's probably coming from the fact that you're participating, you're in zones that are not aligned to what makes you tick as a person. Such an important thing to acknowledge. Tomorrow, we're going to map out your destination. We're going to talk about transferable skills and experience. We're going to talk about how to find the relevant associations between your strengths, your skills, and your experiences. And I'm going to show you some really cool things on AI to help you get creative. Because I get it. You've broken through the wall, but you're not exactly sure. It's really awesome how using a tool like ChatGPT can help you spark ideas for you and help you see that there is a new destination. There is a new door of opportunity out there for you. Thank you for being here. You were brave enough to invest 45 minutes in yourself. That's time. That's valuable. This isn't just, this time is money, as they say, right? You chose you in this 45 minutes, and I'm so proud of you for that. And I'm excited to take you on to the next thing tomorrow, where all of this newfound acknowledgement and confirmation and feelings of validation that you're going to give yourself today is going to play out in the next few days. All right. Thank you. Thank you. I will see you then.